I want to touch the gun that killed Harmless Phosphorescence. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Thoreau Smiley, and I've got away with hogs. Who's joining me this week?
Josh Cece, and just like Warren G, I can't believe this is happening in my own town.
Top of the morning to you, girls. I'm Brian Lesh.
And I'm the Alaric Weber who eats children and old people.
True. Yes.
One of the craziest variants of Al.
That is correct. This is Harmless Phosphorescence. It's the deep dive movie podcast where we pick a theme or a series, watch the movies, we gather some research into the production and the source material, and we tell you all about it. This show is brought to you by our patrons like executive producers Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You want to be a patron? It's easy. Go to patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. We got lots of bonus content up there. There's a bunch of music shows where we recommend different music. There's some Star Wars stuff up there, some holiday stuff, some Simpsons stuff up there where there's a lot of different stuff. There's a monthly movie that goes up every single month. We just put up The Running Man. That was a fun episode. Patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. This week we are starting a brand new series. This is our first episode of Young Guns. It's short but sweet. Two episodes, two movies.
That's why I went with it. That was a big factor. I do like these movies, but I didn't want to get us entrenched.
Yeah, it was Josh's pick.
Some weird thing I like.
Like Cope and Kiwanis Quatsi. Were there three of those?
We're going to do 4 Kurosawa movies.
Yeah.
I'd love it, but...
yeah, we're doing... Just pick a random Bollywood series with like 25 movies.
With 25.
So yeah, starting it off this week, we are watching Young Guns.
Six reasons
Sounds like it's the
why
Predators.
the West was wild.
No one's fool enough to go after Murphy's people.
Emilio Estevez.
I'm in.
Deputize them. Kiefer Sutherland.
You look like trouble.
Trouble? You think I look like trouble? I'm a poet. Between those are just boys. Ain't one of them over 21. Murphy's men will shred them in half within a day.
Casey Shimashko.
I'm a pugilist.
You son of a...
Court adjourned.
Dermot Mulroney.
He ain't all there, is he?
Lou Diamond Phillips.
My vision told me we're headed for blood.
Charlie Sheen.
We got warrants! We're the law!
You were supposed to serve 11 warrants and expose the ring. Instead, you went out and you went on the warpath. The governor's revoked your deputization powers. You're now wanted by the legitimate law as well as those outside the law. You're being hunted by troops.
I like these odds.
Young Guns.
Young Guns. The guns are young.
They're young.
They are.
I wish the movie sounded like that trailer's soundtrack. I'm going to complain about the soundtrack.
I was looking away, and just the sounds maybe like I thought it was an 80s like alien type.
Yeah.
Alert.
It's I knew it had an anachronistic soundtrack, but I haven't seen this movie in a very long time, and I hadn't realized how 80s specifically the soundtrack was.
Oh, the
And
second one
80s.
brings in Jump.
Yeah, the
soundtrack
Not
is not
good
good
80s.
80s. Yeah.
the soundtrack is. It was weird. It's been a long time. This movie was very different than my memory of it. I think the second movie might be a lot more what I remember Young Guns being like, but it's we'll see. We'll see next week. It's been a long time since I've seen that one too. It was released August 12th, 1988. the running time of 103 minutes. It cost $11 million, and it made $56 million. Big hit. It was the first big Western hit in a long time in the 80s. Was it Heaven's Gate?
Was the last one I can think of. And then after this, it was Unforgiven, which is a while after.
Dances with Wolves and Unforgiven. Dances with Wolves was the same year, wasn't it? That was 88. Or was it 90?
Yeah.
What year was Dances with Wolves?
Sell it as a Western, but I guess it is. I thought it was early 90.
Yeah,
I feel like Dances with Wolves is later. I watched it a lot as a little kid.
Yeah, I think it was 90.
I think it stands alone in different ways. I mean, I could see that's if you had to categorize, that's where you would put it. As far as the like gunslinger, shoot 'em up on the main street of town kind of thing.
Yeah. There
hadn't been one.
No, not a big one. And I mean, specifically because Heaven's Gate was such a debacle monetarily. It kind of killed the genre for most of the decade.
Dead Man was good, but not a big hit.
Oh, the Johnny Depp one? That was like that was mid 90s.
Yeah, but I mean, and The Quick and the Dead, which we've talked about.
I mean, by the 90s,
as far as hits.
Yeah, by the 90s, it was coming back. I mean, Tombstone.
Oh right.
It was
so good.
There was kind of a renaissance of westerns in the 90s compared to the 80s, anyways. But yeah, so this movie made a good chunk of change, which means we're going to play the box office top 10 game. This is the game where I will describe the top 10 movies of the week of August 12th, 1988, a week before I turned 12 years old.
Shit. Yeah, man, those were the... All right, I'll shut up. Those were the salad days, man.
Yes. Being 12 years old was definitely some sort of days. I will describe the movies based on the box office mojo descriptions, and the guys are going to try to guess the movie I'm describing. At number 10 for the week of August 12th, 1988. A boy wakes up to find himself in an adult body.
Big?
Big. Tom Hanks is big. Yeah. Was that was a Penny Marshall, right? Or a Gary?
Yes.
Was it a Gary Marshall? No, Penny Marshall.
No, it was Penny Marshall.
Yeah. At number...
And it's so problematic now, but just like was so...
Oh, yeah.
Every element. Nothing was sus at the time.
Yeah. No, at the time it was all good, but his relationship with the lady...
Elizabeth Perkins.
Oh, yeah. Was
my favorite.
Yeah. That was a problem there. Especially at the end, she's like, oh, I fucked a kid. Damn it. That's not good.
That penis wasn't a kid.
Yeah, that was a Hank-sized penis.
Thanks for the memories. That was a Hank-sized. I don't even know what that is. Is that a metric?
I have no idea. At number 9 this week at the box office. A bounty hunter pursues a former mafia accountant.
Oh, is it Lethal Weapon? One of the Lethal Weapons?
No. This is
Joe Pesci wasn't an accountant.
Yeah. This is a really good movie. One of my favorites.
I know, and it sounds so familiar. Oh, Midnight Run?
Midnight Run. Yes.
Charles Grodin's the accountant. That's right.
Yep. De Niro, Grodin. Probably the funniest De Niro's ever been. And I absolutely include all of the stupid Fokker movies.
Yeah. The parents.
At number...
Midnight Run is just... It's a perfect movie.
It's
all the way around.
Oh my God, it's so perfect.
From Yaphet Kotto on down.
Yaphet Kotto's amazing. He's so mad that he's always stealing what's-his-face's cigarettes. The other bounty hunter. At number 8 this week, I forgot about this movie. A hustling drug addict checks himself into rehab to escape trouble with the law and realizes that it's exactly what he needs. This is Michael Keaton doing
Clean and Sober.
Clean and Sober. Yeah, Michael Keaton.
I thought it was that, but I wasn't sure.
Doing an early kind of like dramatic Oscar play there. At number 7 this week. The story of a maverick car designer and his ill-fated challenge to the auto industry with his revolutionary car concept.
Tucker, a man in his dream?
Indeed. Jeff Bridges is Tucker, the man in his dream. Francis Ford Coppola.
Tucker abides.
In our history class, they when this movie came out, there were promotional educational pamphlets about this movie, and they handed them out to us in history class as like
wild
actual things to learn.
Edutainment is the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like the history of it especially. It's better now.
And when it's a topic that's it's just history because it happened before.
But because of that,
it's not remarkable to the human experience.
No, because of that,
which is what history is supposed to.
Yeah, because of that, I thought that the Tucker was like a really important part of the 20th century auto industry. That was,
my God.
Like,
they could just tell us anything back then.
Yeah,
such full of shit.
You just believed it.
There's no other.
Pat Conroy is a good writer. Come on.
The headlights.
Yeah. The headlights.
The headlights.
Oh, that's right. It would follow the steering
that was
wheel.
That was the revolutionary.
Yeah. At number 6 this week. Pampered African prince travels to Queens.
Coming to America.
Yeah. This is a hell of a week at the box office, by the way.
I feel like the 80s
Did this open that low?
Oh, no. Coming to America didn't open.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it was wow, weird.
Tucker and Clean and Sober opened. Just real quick, outside of the top 10, we've got Mac and Me opening.
Did we do Mac and Me? We did Mac and Me.
No, we didn't do Mac and Me. We never did it.
It's another one of our Mandela. I remember
it was nominated. It was nominated for Monthly Movie when we were still doing Twitter polls for it.
I think I watched Mac and Me instead of another movie that you guys. I think I might have mixed them up at some point.
But yeah, Last Temptation of Christ, Bull Durham, and a re-release of Bambi.
Wow. Both Mac and Me and The Last Temptation of Christ.
They're basically
really
the
puts
same
things
movie.
in perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like Tucker, Clean and Sober.
Yeah. Tucker, Coming to America. At number 5 at the box office this week. When a film star is accused of murder, he enlists the help of a burnt-out private investigator to prove his innocence.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
Oh. That movie.
Man, still gives me nightmares. I was way too young to see that.
The shoe
dip,
and the dip.
the melting. Yeah. Ugh.
Oh, at the end when and his voice gets higher and yeah.
I was like 6 months old when this movie came out, and I probably saw it around then, and then for the rest of my life.
I saw it several times, and then this summer, I came here to Tucson to visit my grandparents, and like 2 different times they dropped me off at Elcon while they did errands and shit. Because I'm like, I don't want to drive around in this. I'll see Roger Rabbit again.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Yeah, an old school Elcon. I didn't live here yet, but yeah.
At number 4 this week. In London, 4 very different people team up on a jewel heist, then try to double-cross one another for the loot.
Fish Called Wanda?
A Fish Called Wanda.
In 88?
That was an 88
That's another movie that is like wallpaper in my brain. I've been watching it probably since 88.
I want to do that one too.
Oh, yeah. That was so
and
good.
what's it? Weird Creatures or whatever.
Fierce Creatures.
Fierce Creatures.
Not nearly as good.
I swear to God, we did those movies too. But Josh, this list keeps growing. I think I might have a tumor
Galaxy
or something.
Quest and Mac and Me are the ones that like I feel like I have visceral memories.
You feel like we did Mac and Me too? See, Thoreau.
Yes.
We did not do Mac and Me.
The new Mystery
Maybe
Science
you have
Theater,
holes in your brain.
the new Mystery Science Theater with Jonah Ray. They did it, and it's one of my favorite.
I think that came out around when it was nominated.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I definitely watched it then.
I think I did too. I think that might be
I did. So I'm sure that's what Galaxy Quest. I don't know where that came from, but I just feel like
it was a dream, a shared dream.
Yeah.
At number 3 this week, a New York City cop tries to save his wife and other hostages. At
Die Hard?
Die Hard.
In August?
Still hanging in there, and it's only in its 5th week. Yeah.
It was a summertime movie that became a Christmas movie without Santa Claus in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that debate didn't happen at the time.
Yeah.
Didn't it come back in like November or December? Because there was another movie, They Live, came out in November. And Die Hard managed to like top it.
Yeah, Die Hard
November.
was. I mean, because movies stayed in theaters for a year then.
Yeah. I mean, Die Hard is a perfect movie. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Truly. Like one of the great, like, how did you make this movie so good?
Mm-hmm.
At number 2 this week, a talented New York City bartender takes a job at a bar in Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you to Bermuda, Bahama. Come on, pretty mama.
Dreams.
I didn't
that
remember
movie.
that he goes to
Jamaica.
Yeah. I haven't seen it since I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah, where the old guy's going to start the bar, Cocktails and Dreams.
Yeah.
It's where he meets Elizabeth Shue.
Yep.
I just remember all the tricks and sweaty Tom Cruise.
The tagline on the poster
Such a
is
stupid movie.
When he pours, he reigns. Spelled REIGNS.
That's bad. That's real bad.
He's like, I don't drink alcohol, and I have never really. I'm Tom Cruise.
I had that soundtrack on tape, though.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It was one of those. I remember there was a really good. Oh, there was a Ry Cooder cover of some song on there. What was it?
What was it? But yeah, Ry Cooder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Cocktail. I haven't seen it.
That's where I first heard the Iko Iko Waine song. My grandma and your grandma.
That's Rain Man.
No,
that was Rain Man. You're right. That was Rain Man. I had that one too.
Another stellar
Iko was in
soundtrack.
Rain Man? I don't remember that. We should do a Tom Cruise movie series. He's one character across multiverses. There we go. Boom.
Yeah. Well, Tom Cruise. The movie we're doing today has Tom Cruise in it.
Really?
Yes, it does.
He has a uncredited cameo in Young Guns.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's all made up. He's got like a fake beard inside and mutton chops and stuff.
That's
Stanley
so much fun.
Dr. Moreau.
That's so cool.
I was looking for him. In IMDb, he was credited as Cowboy Who Falls Off Roof.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought I saw him at the end, but you couldn't even really see his face.
That would be Tom Cruise. Like, if I'm doing a cameo, I'm doing a stunt. You're putting me in makeup and I'm doing a stunt. I'm not just going to be a cowboy.
He apparently just wandered onto set. He was like, I've never been in a Western. I want to be in a Western.
Okay.
I can't help but like Tom Cruise, as insane as all the Scientology is. Just his PR.
As an
goddamn
actor,
good work, man.
Yeah, I've always liked Tom Cruise. It's the same thing with Mel Gibson. Like, fuck that guy, but I grew up with Mel Gibson. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't erase that.
And
Tom Cruise is a nutbag I would never want to talk to in real life, but he's Tom Cruise. I mean, he delivers.
He's got like this artistic bent that, like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you're crazy about making movies. I respect that part about him more than anything. Like, I can't think of another actor that's as like insane. Like, yeah, there's a stunt that's never been done. We're gonna do it today. And it's just Tom Cruise on like the behind the scenes. He's like, yeah, It's like the third time I've done this kind of thing. Like,
why? He's making a movie that he's going to film in space.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like, meanwhile, the Russians
back
are like,
to-
we're going to get so rich. Anyways.
Back to the Cocktail soundtrack.
I was just looking it up too, Al.
Ry Cooder did All Shook Up.
The two big songs from it were Kokomo and Don't Worry, Be Happy was from this.
That song still brightens my day when it comes on.
I like Bobby McFerrin.
Bobby McFerrin, right?
I like Bobby Darin.
the Robin Williams was in the video for it.
And so was, what's his name? The guy, he's a clown. He was in something recently.
I just looked this up. Fuck.
Yeah, but he was in Popeye as well.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not calling him a clown. He's famous for being it.
Bill Irwin.
Bill Irwin, yes.
Bill Irwin, yep. All three were in that video, yeah.
That song was partially inspired by the Three Amigos.
Don't Worry, Be Happy?
Don't Worry, Be Happy. Like Bobby McFerrin, he was already coming up with the lyrics, but he has a very different style than that song. And he and like his agent or someone, they went and saw Three Amigos and showed back up at the music studio. And he started playing this song. Because of watching the movie, they were doing terrible Mexican accents.
Okay.
And then that accent bled into Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Wow.
I would have just covered My Little Buttercup. My Little Buttercup.
As the sweet.
Smile. That's a cool story, though. That's funny. Andrea pointed out we were speaking of Deadpool earlier. I said this real quick, but the guy that designed Lady Deadpool in like 2010 had been watching Gossip Girl with his wife constantly, and so he sort of in his mind modeled Lady Deadpool after Blake Lively.
Wow.
What a
And then Blake Lively met Ryan Reynolds on the set of Green Lantern, and here we are.
The whole Deadpool stuff came together in such a weird way.
Really did.
We're really lucky.
And opening.
So it's like the Three Amigos or Walk This Way by Aerosmith. That was Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And then Lennon wrote, what was I'm the Walrus after seeing Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah. After reading Alice in Wonderland, yeah.
Well, reading it, of course, but then I think the animated movie.
Yeah. Well, he said that he misunderstood it and realized that he should have been the carpenter.
Yeah.
Fucking John Lennon. And opening at number 1 for the week of August 12th, 1988. A group of young gunmen led by Billy the Kid become deputies to avenge the murder of the rancher who became their benefactor. But when Billy takes his authority too far, they become the hunted. Young Guns opening at number 1.
I love how historically accurate it is down to the letter.
At the time it was made, it was the most historically accurate movie about it. Yeah, it was the most historically accurate.
Nothing's true.
No, it was. It was more historically accurate than a lot of the other ones. It was
crazy.
The most historically accurate Lincoln County War movie that had yet been made. It's not saying it was completely historically accurate, but it was more than the others had been.
Like the people involved are real, kind of where they are. It's
some
weird.
of the Murphy was a real cattle. Well, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
we'll probably get there and stuff.
The one historical goof that I saw pop up on Prime was about when Tunstall got killed. That he more than likely tried to surrender because he feared for his life rather than just standing up and getting shot. But
what do you mean standing up? Do you mean floating like an angel from his cart? I'm ready for that moment. God damn, I had to rewind that shit like 10 times.
I've read a couple biographies, 2 different ones. There are some problems.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But
okay.
yeah, the most accurate so far, that makes sense.
So, all right. So a brief rundown of the Lincoln County War, which is what this movie is based on, which...
that's for sure real.
Yeah. Yes. So the Lincoln County War, it took place in 1978 in Lincoln County in the New Mexico Territory.
1878.
1878. Did I say 19?
Yes, that would have been crazy.
It took place in 1978, the heyday of disco.
I know.
Cattlemen with AK-47s and Uzis.
How deep is your love? Disco songs in the back.
They're like, damn, Jack, you better get off my land.
Jive turkey.
1878. Through continued until 1881. The events of this film are very much condensed down into, seems like maybe a couple weeks.
Lincoln County is in sort of northeastern New Mexico.
Yeah,
Roswell's
the Four
County.
Corners area, like up towards there.
No, it's closer to White Sands. It's further south.
Yeah, Roswell. Right, White Sands, Roswell.
Yeah, it's west of Roswell.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. My mistake. South
But it's
Central
northern.
New Mexico.
Yeah, Santa Fe, Taos. It's more that compared to like down here. Places near us, Deming, Las Cruces. Giant pit of nothing.
Yeah.
Bill.
So, all right. A few things. So basically, an English immigrant and an Irish immigrant both became businessmen in this area. Cattle barons and more specifically, dry goods.
Dry goods, yeah.
Yeah, they both owned general stores and were competing with each other to supply dry goods to the area.
So like Macy's and Gimbels if they wanted to murder each other.
Yeah, exactly. Both sides got different lawmen on their side. And it was basically Tunstall and Murphy. There were a lot of people involved, but Murphy wasn't actually Murphy was the owner, but he wasn't really involved in the warring as much. But so Tunstall did have a group named of regulators. They were called regulators. He had upwards of 40 of them condensed into the film down to 6.
That doesn't make him seem as righteous as having 6 men defending your cattle ranch that you're teaching to read.
Well, it doesn't. It also there wasn't a small band of dudes who were, full of vengeance and honor.
No, they were a hired mercenary group, is what they were.
Right, they were land wars. So yeah, you had an army essentially.
Yeah,
a posse. But yeah,
Tunstall at the time of his death was 24 years old. He was not. He was not Terrence Stamp, Daddy Terrence Stamp. He was younger than many of the people he hired. Many of the men he hired. Billy the Kid was the only regulator that was younger than Tunstall.
He wasn't a regulator.
The guns weren't especially young in real life. But anyways, he was killed, which started off this land war. Which started the violence of the land war. They were deputized. And they did set off to get the posse members. Let's see, along with a constable. A constable actually traveled with them, and again, it was 40-some men heading out, not 6 dudes. They arrested. Let's see, Sheriff Brady arrested the constable that was with them because they were they were different law factions that were just like warring against each other. It's like it's like a local PD and the sheriff's office just like start trying to arrest each other.
Well, it was marshals and sheriffs. They were always at each other historically.
Yeah.
And then you had constables, justice of the peace. You had magistrates. We were still working it out.
Yeah.
Police agencies conflict all the time. Yeah, it still happens.
Yeah, Arizona wasn't even a state still.
Yeah, now there was New Mexico at that time.
Yeah, it's true.
Was it not? Yeah. Just the
it was
area.
still a territory. So they actually arrested several people and took them in. They did kill a few, and then
Buckshot Roberts was a real guy.
Yeah.
Well, Hill was as well, but yeah, Buckshot Roberts was kind of famous.
Yeah. So Sheriff Brady was murdered.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah. Which kind of set off a lot of this. There was several like gun battles, but the Battle of Lincoln, which is the ending set piece of this, where they're holed up in the house. Again, it was an actual battle. It wasn't 6 men making their last stand in a house. There was a core group of 11 that were in the house of the lawyer, but then throughout the town there was upwards of several dozen other regulators that were involved in the standoff against the Murphy's men. Eventually, the U.S. Army did show up and just shut the whole thing down and said, "Everyone leave. Just stop." And that's what ended it.
The cavalry.
James Murphy was not killed at this battle. He was not even present at the battle. He died of cancer some months later.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, they were trying to do the young guns, so the like whole group is what it was more about, but they did not explore the relationship with Pat Garrett at all, which is so crucial to the whole story.
Right, which that is more the second film.
Yes, it definitely is.
And I actually...
they didn't even show us how they became friends. They meet, and then later on, like, are we friends, Billy? Yeah, we're friends. They didn't even...
Yeah. Let's see.
My favorite Billy the Kid movie is Sam Peckinpah directed it and wrote it. Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid.
Yeah, that's a good one.
James Coburn and Chris Christopherson and Bob Dylan.
Yeah. Oh,
and I will say, if you watch and you hear "Knocking on Heaven's Door" in the context, it's not as nearly an annoying song, and just sort of like it's playing while Slim Pickens' character dies, and it just is fucking. It hits so hard, but then you hear it on the radio, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Do you remember that? I think you were there, Josh. The Dylan Paul Simon concert in Phoenix.
Yeah.
When they played "Knockin' Together" and Paul Simon started singing, "You keep a knocking, but you can't come in."
That's right.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Ran into Jerry Wagner Sr. at that show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Was Bob Dylan annoyed by that?
No, he thought it was funny. He started laughing.
Okay,
yeah.
That's probably hilarious to have that happen next to you.
I could be wrong, but I think he went on to then do that sometimes live.
Yeah. One last thing the climactic battle actually lasted over 5 days. In the siege or the town.
I mean, it's a siege.
Yeah.
They don't usually go very quickly unless you have a tank or something.
Yeah. A lot of there was a number of characters in this that were real life characters. Most of the regulators were real life people, and they had previously not really ever appeared in any of the Billy the Kid movies for the most part, several of them, including Chavez, Dick Brewer, and Doc.
Because they were not a close-knit group, like you said. They were a whole, but I mean, they picked out names to make this Young Guns.
Yeah, but
Billy
these men
was
just
a dumb motherfucker and a wild card.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, the Chinese mistress is entirely fictionalized. Doc was actually married to a woman named Maria Antonia Miguela Herrera. Because again, these were grown men in their 30s that were just hired to fight.
Well, they needed somebody to say
s-
some weird Orientalist stuff. Lots of David Bowie quotes in this movie.
My China doll.
Like ground control to Major Tom.
I love how Murphy, Jack Palance at the end is just screaming China. I had the captions on, but not her name, not even China doll. China. I love China.
I loved Jack Palance's occasional Irish accent.
Yes.
He was in and out of that, like.
But he was also playing Carl Grissom again.
Yes.
My Billy, my number one guy.
I just always think of him as Curly from what's it called?
City
Slickers. Yeah.
The Legend of His Gold. City Slickers 2 is. City Slickers holds up. City Slickers 2 is really terrible.
Slickers.
Slitty Slickers. It all sounds dirty. Anyways, so this film was written by John Fusco. This wasn't like a director, this writing for hire. He developed an interest in the era and the story, researched it, and started writing the script himself and pitching it. John Fusco is also a recording artist. Let's see. His first movie that he wrote was Crossroads. The Ralph Macchio.
That makes so much sense. Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Such a travesty.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Italian American actor.
All of my
Ralph
complaints.
Macchio as Robert Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
All of my complaints about this movie are now contextualized by that. That makes so much sense.
He plays a lot. He's a blues guy. He plays organ and harmonica. With the Travis McComb band. So
somebody's got to.
Yeah. Let's see. He's worked with Ry Cooder, Stevie Vai, Jackson Brown. But
just called Stevie Vai?
Stevie Vai. I don't know why I called him that.
Little Stevie Vai.
Little
Before
Stevie
he was
Vai.
adult Steve Vai.
Steve Vai.
I'm adult Steve.
Yeah. Crossroads was his first script that he wrote. Then Young Guns and Young Guns 2. He did Thunderheart. That
I like that movie.
I haven't seen it since like 1992, so I have no idea if it's good or not anymore.
I don't think it is, but Sam Shepard, Val Kilmer, yeah.
He wrote
and David Crosby saying the most racist line in the movie.
He also wrote Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, Hidalgo.
That's the DreamWorks horse movie?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The Cimarron.
Hidalgo, the
dog, right?
Hugh Jackman and what's her face? The two Australians, right? That's the Aussie folktale.
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen. It's another.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Australia.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the movie Australia.
Hidalgo is he plays a Viggo Mortensen plays a horse guy who rides horses.
Racer.
Yeah. Okay.
A horse guy.
He's a horse guy. Yeah.
Not a whisperer.
He's just horsing around.
And he also wrote The Forbidden Kingdom. That Jackie Chan Jet Li movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he got to. Christopher Kane is the director. Christopher Kane
is a villain name.
Yeah, it is. Or an 80s pop singer.
Yeah. It sounds like a DC character.
Yeah.
Christopher Kane.
Christopher Kane is the one who helped him get this pitched and into production. He is a kind of a director for hire guy. He worked on That Was Then, This Is Now, which is where he met Emilio Estevez. That's was that Judy Blume? No, S.E. Hinton. Another S.E. Hinton. The Brat Pack made so many S.E. Hinton books. So many. He also, let's see, The River Runs Black. He directed The Principal. That was the Lou Gossett Jr. And Jim Belushi are in a tough school.
Yeah. Lean on Me was such an important movie to me.
Yeah. And there was that terrible 80s cover of the song. Yeah. He also, after Young Guns, he went on to make Pure Country, starring George Strait. The Next Karate Kid, starring Hilary Swank. Yeah. And everybody's favorite, Gone Fishin', starring Joe Pesci and Danny Glover, as two guys.
I remember that movie.
Fishing.
I love that movie. It's not very good.
No, it's not. Yeah.
And when you find out that Joe Pesci took some roles to be near golf courses he liked,
yeah, it does make a lot more sense. Yeah. Oh, and The Amazing Panda Adventure.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. In 2010, he directed Pure Country 2.
Still country in.
No, Pure Country 2, The Gift.
That exposes all the mutants in the country music recording history.
His last film was 2012's Deep in the Heart. So this stars, of course, Emilio Estevez as Billy the Kid. Emilio Estevez is, of course, the brother of Charlie Sheen and the son of Martin Sheen.
And Estevez is their actual last name.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Talking through a burp.
Yeah. Carlos Estevez is Charlie Sheen's real name.
His first name is Carlos?
Yeah, Charlie. Carlos.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Charles.
that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And there's so much tiger blood flowing through this movie.
So much.
Remember when we thought that was crazy?
Oh.
Like he texted or he tweeted winning and we're like, he's crazy. And now the president's like, hold my fucking Diet Coke.
Hold my Adderall bottle.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland plays Doc Scurlock. Kiefer Sutherland, of course, the son of Donald Sutherland.
Nepo guns.
Yep. Lou Diamond Phillips as Jose Chavez. Lou Diamond Phillips,
best known as Richie Valens.
And apparently, the cast would hang out together and like party together, like afterwards, like they'd go drinking and stuff, and they would make Lou Diamond Phillips sing La Bamba.
Oh my God.
Make him.
Oh yeah, but Lou Diamond Phillips, he is part Cherokee, so wrong tribe, but at least he has some indigenous heritage. Charlie Sheen is Dick Brewer, of course. Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez's brother. Dermot Mulroney as Dirty Steve Stevens.
The one who has aged the best.
Yeah.
Who looks
Yeah,
the
he looks great now.
absolute worst.
He was
in
kind
this
of
movie.
he was kind of my favorite in this. Dude was dirty. Real dirty.
Not kind of racist. Super racist, super dirty.
And
But then he comes around.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know?
Yeah, of course.
And he really gets into his peyote trip.
Yeah, he does.
Poultry issue.
One of the funniest, look it up on YouTube. One of the funniest SNL sketches is it's a game show, of course. Keenan and whatever the other two black cast members were at the time, but the game show was like, is it Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney? They're like, I don't even know what those words mean.
Casey Simasco as Charlie Boudreaux.
Boudreaux. I never heard his name pronounced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like Simasco.
What's he from?
Simasco, I think.
He was in a few things in the 80s.
He was in Back to the
wasn't big,
Future.
but he was around.
He was in Stand By Me, 3 O'Clock High. He never made it big. Like he was
In the trailer, they said his name like he was one of the Brat Pack.
Yeah, he was always a B-lister. He's
kind of like Eddie Furlong if he was like talented and not insane. Like he was in some stuff.
Yeah,
but he obviously wasn't a household name because I'd never even heard anyone say his name.
Those Polish names are hard, man.
Oh
yeah, he's like, fuck your stage names.
Yeah, he's been doing.
I'm Sakawaka Chakawakowitz.
He mostly does walk-ons in a lot of.
I'll be screwing this light bulb.
He mostly does walk-ons in a lot of TV shows these days, but he also does some voice work. He also does some voice work, mostly for Rockstar. It seems like he had multiple roles in Red Dead Revolver. And he played Johnny Sindaco in GTA San Andreas. And he plays Roble in Red Dead 2.
I bet residuals on video games are wild. Yeah. Like how they figure them out.
Yeah.
Especially like open platform games.
Well, and the video game voice actors union is on strike right now because the strike last year did not include them.
Oh wow, yeah, and they're definitely at risk.
Yeah,
I wonder if the corporate execs are like, Mario didn't speak for decades and decades.
Just get Chris Pratt to do it. He'll just do every video game voice.
Or AI or not at all.
Mario.
We just started.
Hi, I'm the guy that designed this.
We just decided to play Rage yesterday for the first time because it was like just available on PS Plus. And John Goodman just pops up, it's like I'm living this wasteland and I'm John Goodman. He doesn't say I'm John Goodman, but he may as well have. He may as well have been like Rosie. Terrence Stamp as John Tunstall. We have talked about Terrence Stamp both in our patron-only episode on Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, in which he played Chancellor Valorum, and Superman 2, where he's Zod. Zod of the Zod Squad. Yes.
Has anybody seen The Limey?
Yeah, good movie.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
He plays a dude whose daughter gets entangled in Hollywood, seedy Hollywood, and is murdered.
Mm-hmm.
He fucking flies to Hollywood just to clean shit up.
Yeah, good movie.
That's cool. And it's Terrence Stamp just being a maniac.
Just Terrence Stamp killing people. It's great.
It's like Taken. It's like the first version of Taken, sort of. Like you don't know who you just fucked with.
Mm-hmm.
We might have talked about this when Superman 2, when we did Superman 2, but Terrence Stamp also got to be the voice of Jor-El in Smallville.
Mm.
Oh,
cool.
That's cool.
Smallville was good.
Jack Palance as Murphy. Lawrence Murphy.
He's always in his own movie.
Always.
He is a perfect example of a guy that just shows up and is like, all right, I'm here. You want me for my face?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 110, but I'm not going to listen to anything you say.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Palance, of course, we covered him on our Batman episode. He played Carl Grissom. He was in Tango and Cash. That's another movie I haven't seen in a very long time. And of course, as we mentioned, City Slickers and City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold, in which he plays, because Curly dies in the first movie. So in City Slickers 2, he plays his identical twin brother.
Yeah,
I love shit like that.
Well, that's what Young Guns 3 is going to be about.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Everybody's ghost.
I forgot. I was just looking up the Young Guns 2, and I was talking in the group chat about how it's weird that that Emilio Estevez would be playing like a 60-year-old Billy the Kid, since Billy the Kid was killed when he was in his 20s. But then I forgot that Young Guns 2 has the conceit that Billy the Kid didn't really die and is telling his story from the 50s as an old man.
Yeah.
So that actually
like
would make sense.
Big man.
In the world of the Young Guns.
That was my guess.
Yeah.
The Guns verse.
Yeah.
So they go back for one more regulating. I'm so excited to talk about that at the end of Young Guns 2. We won't get there yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, any famous outlaws that weren't killed just sort of went and retired.
Yeah.
People didn't have social security numbers and shit.
Yeah.
Right. You could just stop robbing trains and be a rancher.
Yeah. Just stop robbing trains in New Mexico, move out to Nevada or Montana, and start
like you said, territories.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the siege took 5 days. Is there had to be wire communications. Like, are we going to start a real war down here?
Yeah.
But there were no laws. Yeah, you could just be an outlaw and then be like, you know what, I'm done being an outlaw. Wild.
Yeah. Let's see. Terry O'Quinn as Alexander McSween. That's the lawyer.
The lawyer, Alex. Yeah. Terry O'Quinn. I recently saw a meme, sorry, but it was like, what's the best pilot of any show you've ever seen? And somebody was like, Lost, and somebody replied like, well, if that was the best pilot, they wouldn't
have been Lost.
Yeah. Best passengers, maybe.
Yeah.
It is the best pilot. Boy, it did not dilute anyways. But yeah, Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah. Fucking
John
Lost.
Locke. Most on the nose named character ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Jeremy's description of him.
Let's see. Terry O'Quinn. We talked about. We saw him in The Rocketeer. He played Howard Hughes.
That's right.
He worked. He's always worked.
Yeah. He was
the original smoke monster.
Yeah. He was also he was also had a recurring role in Alias, and most recently in a TV show called Patriot, which I am completely unaware of. As McCloskey, the sleeper agent in The Regulators.
Yeah, that's right.
Is Jeffrey Blake. Jeffrey Blake was in The Last Starfighter, which is a movie I'd love to do sometime.
So good.
Yeah. He was in Forrest Gump, Apollo 13. He works. He's a very character actory kind of guy. He was in the 2019 Midway movie. He played John Ford. Forgot that movie existed. And let's see. Oh, Brian Keith played Buckshot Roberts. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Forgot about that guy.
Yeah. And yeah, let's see. Danny came in as Sheriff Brady. That's about it for anyone. As we said, Tom Cruise was in this as a cameo, as was Randy Travis. He was the guy shooting the Gatling. shooting the Gatling gun at the end.
At least mention the one female.
Oh,
sorry. There were two.
There were two. There were two. Yes. Sharon Thomas played Susan McQueen. That's Alex's wife. Sharon Thomas. I don't know what else she was in. Let's see. Cool.
And who was the other lady?
The
Alice Carter
woman
was Jensen.
Yeah.
China.
All right.
Yes.
Representation.
Yeah, someone else without much of an IMDb. So
sounds good.
Okay.
You know they reviewed it.
They did not.
They didn't.
Siskel and Eberts did not review Young Guns. They did review Young Guns too. Yeah. Yeah. This
interesting.
Yeah, it's weird the ones they skipped sometimes.
Just like we were saying, not a lot of westerns. I wish they'd reviewed it.
Yeah, so do I.
Gene would have hated it.
Yeah, I think both of them would have hated it.
I think so too. But
yeah, they would absolutely have hated it.
He hates anachronisms too. Speaking of the soundtrack earlier, but he hates that.
It has 43% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. It was not reviewed well at all.
It's not very good. I love it, but it's not very good.
Yeah, it was so much. It had some weird pacing issues, and it was so much slower than I thought for a movie that was like a tight, hour and a half, 102 minutes, whatever. But it was a lot.
This is a lot of riding horses away and standing by bushes.
And
yeah, there's just a few locations.
And there's a lot of scenes playing out in silence, where I felt like a soundtrack would have helped. It was weirdly paced and edited.
And the soundtrack that we got. Jeremy and I watched this together, and he and I were discussing the soundtrack and just the weirdness of the choices, and it feels like a after-school special at points. But the guy who wrote the music was the person who performed synthesizer on Thriller.
Yes, he was. So yeah, let's touch on the soundtrack briefly before we get to the critics. So the James Horner composed and recorded an entire score, which they threw out.
No.
Yeah.
So this had a chance of having a real soundtrack.
They said, quote, "It sounded too Irish." Is what the director said.
Oh man.
And that's funny because that's historically accurate, the string, the Irish string band type thing that was popular from Appalachia all the way over.
Yeah, exactly. So they, yeah. So they hired.
Even sexy music had a banjo.
Yeah. They hired Brian Banks and Anthony Marinelli to do the score. Brian Banks. He doesn't have. He's hard to find. He's not the most famous Brian Banks a football player is, and I can't really find much on him. But
he worked on The Color Purple with Quincy Jones, which is pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
that is cool. That would explain Thriller.
Yeah. No. Anthony Marinelli is the Thriller guy.
Oh,
Brian Banks is another dude.
Oh, this is Brian Banks. Yeah.
But no. Brian Banks, he programmed and played synthesizer for Thriller.
No, that's Anthony Marinelli.
Also Brian Banks. I'm looking at his info too.
Oh, okay. Maybe together?
Maybe together they did?
Maybe they're a team.
And Quincy Jones unofficially produced a lot of
but Anthony Marinelli, he also recorded with Lionel Richie, The Crystal Method, and James Brown.
They work together. So Brian Banks is listed as playing synthesizer, and Marinelli is listed as playing keyboards.
Okay.
Some weird 80s distinction. I don't know where the line is drawn.
Right.
One has Roland on the top and the other doesn't.
I guess. So they seem to just be a team. But they did the music for this. In my mind, it was like a hard rockin', modern, a lot of really electric slide guitar, these are the Young Guns. But it was so 80s, so synthy.
It was kind of and sleepy at the same time.
Yes, so sleepy. so sleepy.
It needed like the Crow soundtrack or something.
Yeah.
Or like the Terminator soundtrack. There are times where it feels like those. So Blade Runner has this like iconic soundtrack, but some of those moments I hate more than anything. But it needed more of the like ethereal Blade Runner and less of the like dreamy, pretty girl Blade Runner that we kept getting. It was like tinkly synthesizer sounds. I don't know. It was driving me insane the whole movie. I watched it twice and was like, what's the soundtrack?
In my mind, I legitimately thought Dead or Alive was in the movie.
Yeah, it's in part 2.
No. Is Dead or Alive also in that? Because I know Blaze of Glory is because they wrote it for that, but.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, Dead or Alive was a different. That was already a song.
Yeah, which is why I thought
Blaze
it was
of Glory. He wrote for.
He wrote for Young Guns too. Yeah. So, which is why, like in my memory, I thought Dead or Alive was in this, which is why they just hired him as a bit of kismet to write a song for Young Guns 2. But that was just a weird memory hole thing for me.
It was in.
This movie is like weirdly anachronistic because of the soundtrack. Largely, it's the one thing that doesn't really gel with the whole movie. I think if this had been like Knight's Tale and just been needle drop after needle drop, it would have been a really cool movie.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the soundtrack and the editing has a lot to do with how weirdly paced and sleepy it feels.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the soundtrack because those were sold, like we were just saying a few minutes ago, those were sold as their own product, but the score is very sleepy and sort of lackadaisical, whereas I'm with Thoreau. Like, I remembered rousing guitar riffs and shit, like during action. Must have just been trailers or my mind.
Yeah. It's very... My impression of this film from my youth is so different from what it actually is.
I'm really curious to watch Young Guns 2 because that's I remember these movies vaguely as a little kid, but I didn't watch them much. But I remember it being more of a guitar thing.
I'm wondering if Young Guns
video.
2, yeah, I'm wondering if Young Guns 2 is the movie I thought Young Guns was.
Might
probably. Yeah.
But we'll see when we get there. That's next week. So yeah, like I said. 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. I do have, it was not reviewed by Siskel or Ebert. I do have some Letterboxd reviews. Letterboxd reviewer Oliver Swift writes, young, dumb, and full of guns. 2.5 stars.
I love the pun people. They're my people.
Yes.
It's like there's no critique. It's just this was rolling around in my brain.
User Quail Higgins writes, Cowboy Daddy and his posse of 80s twinks. 5 stars.
And then a dude rolls up with 30 dudes and he accuses the other guy of being sort of
that was
into guys.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure a lot of those cowboys are like, oh shit. Uh-oh. Is that a problem around here?
It's lonely on the range.
Yeah, there aren't any women. I mean, what else are we supposed to do?
We didn't think to bring women. Yeah. Like, what are women good for?
Like, all the things.
Yeah, all of the things.
Oh, these sad, lonely cowboys.
Yeah. User Mitch Mahis writes, more like Billy the Mid. 1 star.
Okay.
And user Andrew Hearn writes, this is the movie my cousin wanted me to watch. 1.5 stars.
He's so real for that.
Those are always my favorite reviews.
The guy who wrote Billy the Mid, shouldn't he have given it 3?
People...
Because it's mid?
Yeah,
it's mid, yeah.
People misuse mid. Mid means mid, not bad.
I thought it meant mid. Yeah, did that change?
But people use it to mean bad way too often. But anyways, that is my old man rant about modern slang.
Don't get Thoreau started on literally.
Aha! Those sons of bitches.
Literally don't get him started.
Me.
That's about it, guys. You want to jump into the movie?
How do can I just laugh like Billy the Kid like a fucking maniac so you know I'm ready?
Oh, yeah. Emilio Estevez.
That's the signal.
Played him as a pure sociopath.
I was giving someone else the chance to say Mount Up.
Mm.
I thought Josh was going to go for it.
All right, guys, here we go. This is Young Guns. We open with a heavily stylized 80s credits sequence. The video, Predator look thing.
Rainy and washed out,
and
but in negative.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
It's a very 80s music video look. And I know, it's funny too, because a lot of the slow motion that they use later on is so choppy and obviously done in post, but not in camera. And it looks terrible.
It looks like it. Yeah. I could have seen this working as a burn-in image, with a whip crack kind of thing. But whatever it was just weird.
I feel like everything sort of looked like a music video for a while.
Yeah. But not a good music video.
Shit.
We have a dearth of, there's 4,000 music videos.
Something by Billy Squier.
Yeah.
Then we cut to 1870s Lincoln County, New Mexico. We meet John Tunstall and Doc. They're going to be getting some sort of sweet treats they're talking about. They see a young man running from the law, hiding in a pig trough.
Stall.
Yeah.
He was with the cows at that moment.
The cows.
This sequence is the thing where you would in a Spielberg kind of, you'd have and it'd be well blocked shot of action, but it's just Emilio Estevez running through a crowd and them kind of shooting it and then shooting back at the guys that are looking for him. It's the funniest, where are we? How did he get to this pig thing?
But yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. And the soundtrack, it comes in and it has the electric guitar, but it's like Josh was saying, sleepy electric guitar, just lots of long held notes, weird choice.
It was a Lonesome Dove or something, or Dr. Quinn Medicine, a TV Western.
Yeah. Why was it
Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
This was an episode.
Yeah.
We went into town and we met an outlaw.
Well, his name was Billy.
This movie's so weird because we see Billy from Terrence Stamp's perspective, right? And Doc's perspective.
That's called the Stamp point of view.
But he's the protagonist of the movie, but we never really get the movie from his perspective. It's such a weird movie.
There is, no. Billy is definitely the protagonist, but it's the film is not told from his perspective at all because he is a sociopath. And how are you? Yeah, it's weird.
It's a really weird thing. They introduce him, he's the protagonist, but he's not. He's just a thing that we're watching happen in the movie. He's just happening
because it was all about the crew. It was all about this gang, which it's not really a member of a gang classically, the Hole in the Wall gang.
On his tombstone that wrote pals. No, it didn't. They didn't write pals.
No.
Pals?
Pals.
That's the thing they thought to say. Also,
wasn't it?
We were pals. Yeah. So they help him escape town by hiding in the wagon. They take him back to Tunstall's ranch, where we meet the rest of the crew, the regulators, Doc Skurlock, Jose Chavez, Dick Brewer, Dirty Steve Stevens, and Charlie Boudreaux.
The pugilist?
Yeah, the pugilist. So
performing the hit songs of Led Zeppelin.
I thought it was funny, and Jude pointed it out. At one point, Lou Diamond Phillips literally brings a knife to a gunfight. Because he's just throwing knives while everyone else is shooting at one point. It's Lou, stop.
Well, and that old Western bullshit of they were primitive. They used spears and knives. No, gun trading happened almost immediately.
No, as soon as
the first thing.
As soon as they found guns, they were oh, we'll use these now.
Yeah. Please trade those.
These are great. Just like horses. Horses are not native to North America. As soon as they got them, they were
Right.
like, yeah, we can go so much faster.
Awesome.
But hey, if you're already good at throwing knives,
Sure.
may as well
Don't
throw
get
a few.
rid of it. Don't get rid of it.
Don't not have knives, but when people are shooting, maybe pull out your gun. So yeah, they sign Billy to pigs. The guys get to know Billy. He claims to have killed a man.
He pulls his gun on a pig, and it is one of the funniest things that happens in this movie.
Yes.
He's just like shaking, pointing a gun at a pig. I was like, I've never thought that I would see this in a movie. Like,
And it's the one beat where they like make him seem so simple and stupid. You know, like how do you have in the 1800s? You're afraid of hogs. I don't know. It's just odd. And then you find out he's the most educated of the boys.
he can read good.
Yeah.
Yep. This is funny. Like they make him seem like he's never seen a pig.
Yeah. It's weird how they play this character. And yeah.
But he's also the protagonist, kind of.
Yeah, because no one else is the protagonist.
Maybe
Yeah,
Doc
no,
is
it's
because he
about
has a
him.
love interest.
Doc does get the voiceover at the end.
I guess. And he is the first person we see, and he's
Is Doc the secret protagonist?
man, I don't. This movie doesn't know. No, there are no answers.
It's Voldemort.
It's Voldemort. He's on the back of somebody's head.
It's Shrek all the way down.
So that night, they have dinner. Then Tunstall makes them take turns learning to read. Billy's already a good reader. The next day, Murphy shows up with the sheriff and a bunch of guys. He accuses Tunstall of robbing a supply wagon of his. They deny it. Tunstall and Murphy exchange some tense words. There are allegations of gay sex, and then Murphy.
Well, and going back to the law enforcement thing is, marshals were appointed by judges, whereas sheriffs even now are elected. So back then, you bought a sheriff
Yeah.
for your town, and it was usually the industry men, the men who had stores and what have you. They elected a sheriff.
I love
that
how
they
heavy
wanted.
though they lay it on, where he's like, yeah, the sheriff and the judge and then the governor and then a couple of other dudes. And it's like, why are we even having this argument then? Like, how you have all of these connections.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you standing here? How is this not already fixed? I don't know. I just
Well,
think
it's
they,
sort of
I think
like-
they went over.
Too.
Yeah.
It's so my favorite Western is The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and what's his name, Terry Thomas. Can't remember. But anyways, that attitude of the old West sheriffs of like, I don't want to be giving you a hard time, but I can't go and just arrest Liberty Valance. Do you know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
kind of sheriff, just milk toast and useless.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't want to be here, Tunstall, but that dude pays me.
Yeah. So the governor of the territories at this time was appointed by the president. Was it Rutherford B. Hayes? Is that what they said?
Hayes, yeah.
Yeah, Hayes. So and the governor that oversaw all this and let it apparently didn't do enough to stamp this down, got fired by Rutherford B. Hayes, and a new governor was appointed who took care of it all and made them stop doing this.
Mm-hmm. And hiring Pat Garrett was their last ditch effort.
Yeah. Murphy and this men leave after making all the threats and telling them that they've paid off the sheriff and local politicians. Then later, one of Murphy's hired hands, McCloskey, arrives, telling them he got fired and he wants to join up with Tunstall. Tunstall takes him in. Tunstall has a bad sense of who's a good person to have around, considering he hires McCloskey and Billy.
I think that I think that he's just that kind of guy. I think that that's how they're trying to characterize him. Is not that he's dumb, but that he just thinks everybody deserves a chance.
Absolutely.
There's no way Zod would be dumb.
No.
Well, they represent two sides of the immigrant experience, sort of, So Tunstall is grateful that he had this land of opportunity. He came from Ireland, and so, yeah, he tries to see the positivity in these young men going west.
Well, no, I thought it was interesting. Jack Palance was the Irish one. Tunstall was English, but I thought it was interesting.
Oh, right, yeah, the Englishman. Yeah,
I thought it was interesting that they had a little bit of the animosity about the Irish versus the English in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had them backwards.
But
yes.
Yeah. Then Tunstall takes Billy into town, buys him some clothes and a snazzy new hat. Then they head back. Everyone gets dressed up because it's New Year's Eve. They go into town to party. They dance, they drink. Doc attempts to court Yen Soon, who is Murphy's Chinese ward.
That he stole because her mother ruined his shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a weird choice, considering this person was not based in any historical figure.
Yeah. I know, but what were you gonna? You couldn't have a young girl that was into Jack Palance.
No,
there had to be some coercion.
It could have just been his daughter. I don't know.
Yeah,
but then he wouldn't be competing for her hand.
Really. Yeah. Oh, was he competing for her hand? His ward.
Well, she belonged to Murphy, and they called her House Entertainment. But
Yeah. Ugh.
I love that no matter what the Western is, guys playing cards cannot get through a game without people falling onto their table. There was a table of guys by the fire at this party, which I get it, light and heat, but then they just get thrown over the top. It's just great. Nobody can finish a card game in the Old West.
No. One of my unanswered questions, and I'll bring it up now, is that when did Billy visit San Dimas? Was it in between Young Guns and Young Guns 2?
Who knows?
When he ran rampant through the mall. With Genghis Khan and Abe Lincoln. The party ends. Sun's coming up. Everyone shoots into the air, which is a terrible idea. Don't do that.
Yeah. So popular back then.
Oh,
and now, actually.
I'm still popular. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Guy who got arrested for that.
Like, guys, bullets come down. They don't disappear in the sky.
That was a great Kurt Vonnegut novel. Very underrated. Dead-Eye Dick.
Oh, yeah.
Talks about a bullet coming back down.
Yeah. Great book. So on the way home, Murphy's men kill Tunstall while the regulators are distracted chasing a quail?
Pheasant.
Chasing pheasants. Yeah.
Which would have been an awesome dinner for New Year's.
Sure.
He's watching them from his wagon proudly, like, look at these boys.
Look at my boys.
He literally
these rapscallions.
Billy's like, I don't know if I should chase that pheasant. And he says, boys will be boys.
Right, like Billy caught two of them buggering each other in the barn. Like, everyone will be everyone. That's food.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite moment in the movie that I had to rewind multiple times. When Terrence Stamp he ascends into heaven, not unlike Obi-Wan Kenobi, but in a different way. Like, they strike him down, but he is so much more powerful. He is like T-pose, like the Christ in like Sao Paulo, and then he dies. But I mean, like, for a moment there, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Dude, the fake deaths in this movie.
Oh yeah.
One guy's like, with his tongue sticking down.
Charlie Sheen's
Charlie Sheen the best. They shake the camera. We'll get there, but they shake the camera.
Takes him so long to fall. He was hitting the chest.
Jude pointed out, other than the one time where Kiefer Sutherland's face got splattered, there's so little blood. So little blood from gunshot wounds in this movie.
Yeah. My unanswered question is, how do you not hear that many horses coming up behind you?
Yeah. Well, see, they were out of frame.
They all had sneakers on.
They were just out of frame.
Yeah. They weren't in the movie yet, so
Yeah.
He's ear blind, Al.
Ear blind.
Ear.
You can smell
If
what
only
I'm
we had a
hearing
word
right
for that.
That's funny.
Yeah. So they kill him, and then
Boy, do they.
yes. And
It's a cinematic moment.
It is.
I mean,
And-
it is cheesy. It is cheesy,
It is.
like you're saying.
It
But
is
seeing them
cinema.
appear behind him,
And the horse.
yes.
yeah,
They
shot
shot his
fucking
horse too. Yeah, brutal.
That's some
Yeah.
John Wick shit right there.
Honestly, I think they're just really bad aim.
Yeah.
Would
Sure.
be my guess.
I think they did it. I think they're ruthless.
Also, so they watch these guys get shot, and then they all go like, "No, Luke Skywalker, no!"
Yeah.
And then they get on their horses and ride away, as these guys give chase, and nobody dies.
Yeah. They don't shoot at the guys at that point.
This is the gun battle moment.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where they should be.
I don't know. Maybe they weren't paid to kill them, or they didn't
Yeah,
care.
just
as
like
much.
blocking
You
wise.
killed the head.
It's weird.
Oh,
the,
yes.
It's weird. The
you're right.
regulators
Like,
didn't shoot at them.
At
Yeah.
all.
One of them said there are too many of them.
Yeah,
Right.
like
That's
Doc
the
takes the
logic.
time to say that before they get on horses, and they're really not that far away. Like bullets travel pretty far, especially when there's like 12 of you
Yeah. Sure.
shooting at the direction of guys not on horse. I don't know. It just drove me nuts. I'm like, why are they all standing around? Anyways,
Well,
this movie drove me nuts.
yeah. Because in real life, dude was alone when he got
Yeah.
killed. And the movie needed to happen.
The
And,
dramatic moment was important, I guess.
and that's what pacifism gets you.
T-posed in the middle of the air, and then you're dead.
Yeah. It's
There
not
are
as
some
noble as you think it is.
there were some accounts he tried to surrender to be arrested by them, and they just executed him.
But like Tunstall didn't even carry a gun. I don't know that they said he was a pacifist, but you got that vibe.
No,
like,
he
we can talk it out. I own a store, you own a store. It's like, yeah, that's the problem. You're just not seeing it from
Yeah.
the evil point of view.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. They don't want you to own a store.
Yeah, right. That's called competition.
Yeah, so they have a funeral for him. Tunstall's lawyer friend, Alexander McSween, arranges for the regulators to be deputized and given warrants for the killer's arrest. Judge.
We get like a Star Wars level of like, oh, there's actually this legal loophole that allows the governor to deputize you guys, so that's gonna happen now. Like, oh, okay.
I mean,
Cool.
it did. That's actually
Yeah.
historically accurate. That did happen.
But no, just the way
unincorporated territories.
like just the way that it happens in the movie, though, it's like, oh, that's that's where we're going. It just
Mhm.
is really funny the way that they deliver it. As I don't know, it just made me laugh. Like,
They all swear on the same Bible at the same time. And now their young guns are young gunning for the bad guys.
Really, regulators.
Yes.
yeah, the Bible thing. Who was it? Was it the Justice of the Peace?
Yeah, he was holding the Bible.
Yeah.
And they all
His
break.
face, they do the break thing off the Bible, and he shakes his face with this like disgust reaction, and it is one of the best like face acting moments of this movie. He just like shudders.
He's not into it.
He's like, these guns are too young.
This is some sort of brat pack you've got together here. These guns are too young.
So they go to a local brothel. They're looking for Henry Hill, who was one of the killers in the posse. They send Billy in, but instead of arresting him, he just shoots him while he's taking a piss.
And everyone's calling him by his full name repeatedly in that shack. You know, when they're making sure it's him, like, oh, Henry Hill, Henry, you want me to pour you one? Henry Hill, you couldn't even. It's like you don't need to. I don't know. It seems like this is the only barbershop, brothel, gambling, den bar by the river that there is for miles.
Yeah.
And Henry Hill, you couldn't have sex with a prostitute.
But yeah.
Like there's like 5 of us in here.
Yeah, but it is a tiny little gambling barbershop brothel, just all on its own, away from anything else.
People are there every day.
Yeah, exactly. The people that live a horse rides away from it are there every day.
Oh, the one by the river? Yes, the barbershop brothel bar room. The one by the river.
Or is it the one that's inside the Walmart?
Oh, the hammock district. Yeah. Inside the Walmart.
Right next to the eyeglasses.
You can get a blowjob, your hair. Actually, you can get all those things at Walmart.
Yeah, you're not going to enjoy any of them, but you can get them all.
No. It's going to be a terrible headache or a haircut.
Bad haircut,
Terrible
your glasses
head.
won't be right, and the blowjob's going to be real toothy.
It's going to be real great value.
Great value brand blowjob.
They're just a little off.
These were
Hydrox cookies have blown down.
It's the texture.
There's just something about the texture. Yeah, that's still just frosting, but it's not an Oreo.
Oh, so a bunch of guys get shot.
That's a place to do it.
Yeah. They head back into town and hang out behind a wall reading the newspaper. The paper dubs William Billy the Kid. They think he's the leader. Doc sees Yen Sun walking, and he tries to give her flowers, then yells at her and tells her.
And then says he thinks she's worth more. What does he say? He says something that's so just like, you're worth more than a shirt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because she's like, I am dirt, I am unclean or something. And yeah.
Yeah, and he calls her little China girl.
But then, yells at her to stop. So it's just like, I'd like to be your owner now. Like, it's still the Old West, and I still don't respect you.
You know what I just found out? Apparently, there were quite a number of Indian people who came to the California in the 1800s, along with, people from China and what have you.
You mean East Indian?
Indian. Yeah.
Okay.
India. And apparently because of the similarities in their complexions, they integrated well into the Hispanic communities. So there's a large number of Indian Hispanic communities in Southern California, weirdly.
Interesting. Sort of like a Chicano identity.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Or Chino.
Yeah.
The Asian element.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just read that the other day, and I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, we're quite the melting pot. We don't like to talk about it.
Yeah. Check back next week for more immigration facts here on Harmless Phosphorescence. So they find 3 more of Murphy's men just rooting through horse poop out in the trails. Billy wants to kill them right away instead of arresting them. They also did not see Lou Diamond Phillips just crouching behind a bush, ready to come out with a knife.
They're like, is that Lou Diamond Phillips?
These guys all have
is that
very ridiculous stealth stats. Like, it's like Metal Gear Solid over here.
It really is. They may as well just have a box. But they, So let's see. They want to kill Billy wants to kill him right away instead of arresting them, but Dick says no. McCloskey is in the worst acting job ever. suggests that they don't go back a certain way, and Billy realizes that he's still working for Murphy. Billy kills McCloskey, and then Murphy's men try to run, and they kill all of them.
Yep.
We cut, and it's sometime later. They're reading more stories in the paper that aren't accurate.
Where do they keep getting these papers if they're on the run?
They have a subscription. The paper.
No, they
on his
hold up a
bike
paper
runs
boy.
by
That kid on his like, what is that? It's a bike, and I've got to get all of these.
Just tosses papers into the chaparral.
Yeah.
Yeah. About 20 miles between houses. He's late for school every day.
No, he does the old paper hustle where you just dump them into a ravine somewhere and you say, deliver them all. Get away with it for a couple of weeks, and then you try another newspaper in
The
another
neutral
town.
chaos paper boy.
They're like, they're like, my personal ad was in that one. Damn it.
Damn it. Yeah. You know how long it takes to print the newspaper? They think he looks like Dick.
Yeah.
Which is funny
Dick?
because they're brothers. And
Yeah.
being like,
Yeah.
it's not what you look like.
So then Chavez finds some peyote in the snow. That was weird.
I mean, it's the High Sierra, but it's funny that it wasn't that time of the year. Like, you can find snow in northern, Santa Fe gets snow and shit. But yeah, it is funny.
I think it
didn't
was.
It's February, right? Or January.
It's to show movie magic, like this is a magical. If you're not aware that it's peyote yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Right, it adds to that magical element. He had to find a place that no one could find.
Because he is the Native American character, he has to be magic and show
magic.
We can't have Dermot Mulroney finding it,
Not Dirty Steve Stevens.
I'm dirty, but I have feelings.
So yeah, they
over here.
they go on a long silent peyote trip. It was weird that this part was scored not at all.
And in slow motion and pitched down like an octave.
Yeah. I mean, I get what they were going for, but yeah.
Chavez has been carrying around black and white face paint this whole time.
Yeah.
Well, he mimes on the
off.
side, Al.
I mean, yeah, what's a little
Put that
talc and
silence
some
to work.
polish, some charcoal.
I don't know. Does anybody remember an acid trip where like people just kind of did their own thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Naturally?
Absolutely.
It's like, no, I'm not into the group trip at the moment.
Yeah, I'm over here
I've
looking
got
at a
chickens to
tree.
herd.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'm going to take a walk.
I'm going to go in the bathroom and forget to come out for a while.
Yeah, then there's that.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just kind of hanging with the bathtub.
The lighting
I'm just trying
is
to
brightest.
look into my pupils as deeply as I can. I'll be out in an hour or two.
No, I
Mirrors,
couldn't
man.
deal with that. I couldn't deal with mirrors, man. No thanks.
Yeah. I wasn't into the introspective trip. Somewhat.
Yeah, so they still high. They travel through an extraordinarily inaccurate Navajo village.
That was Mescalero.
Mescalero?
That was the Mescalero reservation.
In New Mexico.
Okay. They still shouldn't have had Lakota-style teepees.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, that's true.
They head back home, but then, which is the best idea ever because they are immediately found by Buckshot Roberts. I'm just going to go to where they live. Oh, they're here.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that guy's moxie though, because he's just like, "Oh, I got this."
Yeah, it's like I don't care. These fucking
Yeah,
guns
he
are
was-
young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he seems like the kind of guy who got to town and was like, "Where do they live?" Oh, well, I'll just
Yeah.
go there then.
Yeah.
Not like,
Like a
he hung out in
rooster
the bar,
Cogburn.
like the bar, for a weekend or whatever. He's like, "Nah, I'm here for business. Maybe I'll come back afterwards for a drink."
Yeah, exactly. So he tracks them down. There's a shootout. There was a lot of shooting at him, but not not hitting him.
We get another David Bowie quote.
What was
Let's
it?
dance.
Let's dance. Wow, there are a lot.
Yeah. Remember the point where Billy the Kid just said, fame,
Said what? You blinked.
fame.
Oh yeah.
Just
There's
keeps
a
whispering to Doc, put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
Yeah, that boy was like,
Waiting in
blue,
the sky.
blue, electric blue. That's the color of my room. So he barricades himself in the outhouse and kills Dick. the Charlie Sheen death dance that he does.
So yeah, it's admirable.
I'd call it a shudder almost. He was like,
He was like doing the chicken head.
Like he was making noises. I'm sure he was like vocalizing while he was doing it and getting real weird with it.
Yeah.
But it was in slow motion.
But post slow motion. They didn't realize it was going to be in slow motion, so they didn't shoot it in slow motion. They just did it digitally in post, and you can tell because it's 1988 digital.
My favorite choice, though, is once his body hits the ground, the camera, and probably in post, goes like there was like an earthquake with the massive like weight of his death.
Yeah.
That I didn't feel at all. I have no feelings towards that man whatsoever. I think he does not look like his brother. And it's, like he didn't do anything important in this whole movie.
It is weird how Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez both split in like it's like Martin Sheen's features split into two distinct things.
Yeah.
That are both recognizably Martin Sheen, but not in any way related to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a death, all right. So the rest of the crew then decide that maybe we should actually shoot him instead of just shooting around him. They go on the run then. Doc is injured and he heads into town where he visits, well, no, he doesn't visit them yet. Chavez tells Murphy about how his mom and his tribe were killed because it was like a whole thing where they were given bad meat and then
accused of an uprising.
Yeah, and then
as an
murdered.
excuse to mow them down.
Yeah. Billy takes charge.
I don't know. Do you think they knew that this was going to be the most emotional point in the movie? Because I don't think they did. They did not structure the movie around
I think
this moment.
they tried to. Yeah, I think they tried to make several moments high emotion, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the only one that really like came through in a way that felt like the caliber of the actor. You know, even.
Doc visits Yensun, then goes back to the gang. We cut to Billy just walking behind the sheriff in the middle of town, and he shoots him.
He escaped the gallows, and that's a really fun story. The way he talks his captors out of letting him go. They didn't really use any of that, but fun element about his life.
Yeah. Then they meet with their lawyer, who tells them that shooting the sheriff was a bad idea, and they are no longer deputies.
But you did shoot the. I didn't shoot the deputy.
Yeah.
They should have consulted counsel before making a decision.
Right. So my territory appointed lawyer.
I disagree. They shot 3 deputies right there.
Yeah.
He was crazy. Crazy about murdering.
Also, again, I got to come back to it. The music in this moment to like highlight the playfulness. Whoever was composing whatever is happening had no idea what they wanted to do with this scene.
No.
Well, it's a pan flute.
Yeah. It's the soundtrack's bad. It's a bad score.
Like mind-bendingly bad. This moment is one of the most like what is happening? What movie is this?
And then like the point later, I forget.
And he shoots these guys.
When they're just being chased by the posse and it suddenly goes full synth, like 80s, like dun 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 dun.
That was jarring.
Yeah. Yeah, so Billy thinks that by doing all the killing, it'll bring attention to Murphy's corruption.
You know, not a bad strategy, honestly. That sounds crazy to say, but considering the time, and he's killing, not to say the right people, but he's killing people that are going to get attention.
Yeah. I mean,
strategy's sound.
He's not wrong. It did get the attention of Rutherford B. Hayes.
Yeah. And we still know his name.
Yep.
He's all, who's that fella?
Yeah, there's something about seeking
attention of Rutherford
B. Hayes. So, like, oh my.
He's hot
Josh,
right now.
You know probably more about Billy the Kid than most of us, I'm guessing. Did he
No, I wouldn't say that.
But like the notoriety thing, was it intentional? It was like seeking notoriety, not just out being a sociopath necessarily.
It was a byproduct of the times. So like newspapermen created outlaws essentially. I mean, there were guys that robbed trains and guys who did all that shit, but it was really the mythos. In fact, what was huge was that when an outlaw was killed, they stuffed him essentially, and they would go on road shows with the body, and you'd pay like a nickel or whatever to see the dead body of whoever it was. And so the mythos, like that, it was all about that.
It's same
selling
thing in
newspapers, selling pulp stories,
same thing
and songs.
Same thing with like the 20s outlaws and like the
the gangsters.
Yeah. Like Bonnie and Clyde got famous because they lost a camera that had film in it. And a newspaper man got their hands on the camera, developed the pictures, and we're like, oh, these are great pictures. They look so dangerous. We're going to make stories about them.
There'd be a T.E. Lawrence and the mythos that they built up around him too, and his exploits and stuff at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where the whole like legends of the Old West kind of it was very popular in the Northeast to hear these tales of the Western outlaws. So I don't know if Billy so much was he did like the notoriety and he really liked the nickname.
Really?
But yeah.
Oh, and they do mention in this that William Bonney was just one of his aliases. It's probably not his actual name.
No, so Billy McCurdy.
Henry McCarty.
Yeah.
Henry McCarty. That's it.
So they let's see.
Killed somebody over cheese or something once.
Hey, I mean,
look that one up.
Cheese is cheese, man.
Yeah, I killed him. Brian, you're muted.
I mean, it's hard to come by at the time.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that there weren't a lot of cows, but like, I'm sure cheese was like valuable.
I might be confusing them with somebody else, but I feel like that. I'm going to look it up.
So Charlie visits a brothel. There was a scene that was cut in which it's revealed that whore was his mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't seem to recognize that.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
In frame in any way.
Billy was shot in one.
Yeah.
And died. Anyways, yeah. Can I just hold you?
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Billy and the gang are getting a drink, and there's a bounty hunter who is mouthing off, so Billy kills him.
And he's a dandy.
Yeah.
Looks all Wild Bill Hickok.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so enamored with the barmaid. And he just hands over his gun.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy slips the bullets out.
Yeah. Yeah, so when the guy tries to shoot him, Billy is not shot. That's how no bullets works.
Don't let people see your gun.
No, don't give.
I feel like, yeah.
Oh,
like it's a lot like other guns. You can picture it.
Yeah. So they head to Mexico. Charlie Merrill marries some lady that he finds there. Pat Garrett.
Juarez.
Yeah. Pat Garrett shows up and warns Billy that Murphy's men are going to kill their lawyer. It's so funny that he's their lawyer. Like that.
Yeah.
The blood-sucking lawyer.
Yeah. Ambulance wagon chaser.
the wagon chaser.
Have you been injured in an accident? Well, it's the Old West. Fucking deal with it.
Is his law office in the back of the meat shop?
Probably.
Yeah. They were also barbers.
Yeah, but he's like Saul Goodman, running out of the like nail shop.
They go to his house in Lincoln to warn him, but he doesn't want to leave, and then they get surrounded by Murphy's men. And John Kinney, famed outlaw John Kinney, they realize it was a trap. They hole up at the house, managing to make it through the night under siege. The next day, U.S. Army troops show up, and Murphy also shows up with Yun Soon, who runs inside and joins Doc.
Brave woman from the annals of history.
Yeah.
China.
Him yelling that while also kind of trying to do an Irish accent, but not really.
I was having like this image of Trump shouting China in my mind while he was doing it too. Like, what is
like
happening?
Her name is Yen. He could have been yelling that. He's just yelling the country of China.
Yeah. He insists on calling her that, even though it's longer than her actual name. So Murphy orders the soldiers to set the house on fire. Alex's wife leaves unharmed. Chavez manages to slip out of the house unseen. The rest of the gang is trapped in the burning attic. They start throwing stuff out the window, including a trunk. And then Billy bursts out of the trunk and they start shooting everybody.
Does anybody watch The Righteous Gemstones?
I haven't yet.
Oh, well, there's a scene where Eric Andre's character and his wife, they're like finally tracked down by the cops, and they do this scene. They try to recreate the trunk scene. It like pops open and she falls out of it, trips and falls out of it, and Eric Andre just gets. It's great. They even talk about it. They're like, we could do the Young Guns thing.
That's hilarious. During the fight, Chavez returns with horses. Charlie and John Kinney shoot each other dead. Doc and Yen right away. Dirty Steve Stevens gets wounded. Or no, Dirty Steve Stevens gets Chavez onto a horse. Chavez is wounded. They ride away.
Oh, he had just previously been shouting about how he was ran away and was making love to his horse.
That's right.
And then Chavez comes riding up on the horses to save everybody.
Yeah.
He's like, I knew you had it in you.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty great way to write this character as being just awful the whole time.
Sure.
Honestly, you think he's having this spiritual awakening with like, oh, dude, we are brothers. And the moment the guy goes to get the horses, he's like, he's fucking those horses, man. I knew it.
Like, now that you've done something nice for me, you've proven yourself and your entire race.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, until the moment that he doesn't.
It.
Yeah. Alex gets killed by a Gatling gun, the lawyer.
Yeah, that's wild. I think they just got one.
Yeah.
It's like when cops roll up in a tank, they just bought military stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Billy has his last one-liner as he shoots Murphy between the eyes. It says, Murphy, reap!
The whirlwind.
Yeah.
Reap it, Murphy, you son of a bitch.
Reap it, Murphy, you son of a bitch. Again, Murphy was not present and died of cancer some months later.
Maybe he got cancer from a bullet throw. We can't.
Yeah,
even know.
bullet cancer is one of the leading causes.
of yes, it is one of the leading causes. In a voiceover from Doc, he tells us that Chavez started working at a farm in California. Doc moved east and married Yen Soon. The lawyer's widow became a prominent cattle woman, and Murphy's ring of corruption collapsed. Spoilers.
Is that like a centaur?
It did not.
Sorry.
In real life,
It
collapsed. And of course, Ron Howard died in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Billy continued to ride until he was killed by Pat Garrett. He was buried next to, according to the voiceover, he was buried next to Charlie at Fort Sumner with the epitaph, "Pals." Pals.
Someone snuck into the cemetery
and wrote "Pals"
and etched "Pals" into the headstone.
Yes.
Maybe it was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, it was all of us.
Yeah. It was all of
Maybe
us
it was
watching this movie.
60-year-old Billy the Kid telling the story in the 50s.
If there ever was a movie that metaphorically etched something onto somebody's headstone, it's probably this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say "Pals"
back
though.
into the graveyard.
Yeah. Pulled the skeleton out and
it's just a four-letter word, so it could have been any of them, I suppose.
But
even the illiterate
ones. But "Pals," like I never got the feeling that they especially liked Billy.
Right, that they were pals.
No.
Yeah, their lives probably got easier after he died.
Yeah, they were probably like, "Thank God I don't have to hang out with Billy anymore."
Ruins every party.
Because it's only two of them left, right? It's just Doc and Chavez.
Yep, just Doc and Chavez.
Other than Billy.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the movie. Do we have any unanswered questions that we haven't talked about?
No.
How? Why? What happened to the Horner? Or was it Horner that had the soundtrack?
Yeah, James Horner. Yeah, and again, I don't disagree that they were trying to make a young Brat Pat rock and roll Western seems cool. It just seems like they only half did it.
Yeah, one foot in serious Western and 1 foot in that. Yeah, the music video Western.
Yeah. I would have, a full 80s music video Western, go for it, but they didn't go for it.
It's interesting because this movie, it's like making a movie without having ever seen a Western, but having all of the sets and costumes and props and maybe even some of the writers from a Western, but none of it looks like a Western in any of the conventional ways to editing and stuff. I don't know, it's really weird. It's a weird movie.
It's that's the setting.
Yeah.
A Western, and it's not about the West.
Mm-mm.
Which the Billy the Kid story very much was. He wasn't from New Mexico, if I remember correctly, but it's how young guys could make their way.
A lot of
killing some people.
A lot of people on both sides, the Regulators and the Murphys gang, the House. They were called the House, is what his gang was called. The Regulators and the House were Civil War vets who didn't really have any other skills or any other way to make money, so they just went west and were mercenaries, basically.
It's interesting that they mentioned Dolan, but he was actually the primary cattleman.
Yeah,
that was of the house.
Yeah,
that they went with
Dolan
Murphy.
was a name.
Yeah. Murphy owned the store and everything, but he wasn't the primary driver of the feud on that side at all.
There was the Irish-English thing, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Empirical kind of.
Yeah.
The other immigrant. I came here and I'm full-blooded patriotic American. Fuck all ties to the crown.
Yeah.
Even psychologically.
Yeah. It's crazy considering how inaccurate this movie is that it was the most historically accurate at the time in 1988.
Yeah. It's wild.
And I mean, it's like they grabbed a bunch of historical toys and made a movie with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as historical
And if
as
they
it
were
gets.
if they were always planning on doing a second one, then the choices make sense but if they weren't, it's like, how did you erase Pat? That was almost a Holmes and Moriarty type rivalry. I mean, that's the storied part.
Mm-hmm.
The cattle barons hiring your best friend.
Yeah.
Fucking hunt you down.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to Young Guns 2 because I want to see where this went. It's crazy that this movie was such a hit.
Yeah. I want to see the heavy lifting it does to improve on this.
Yeah.
Everyone should watch the Bon Jovi video.
Yeah. Whoa, I already have. there's so much.
The setting is wild.
Yeah.
They made it seem like an abandoned drive-in on the rim of the Grand Canyon.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone backing out of the drive-in just went over the edge.
It's amazing. Yeah. No, the Bon Jovi video is amazing.
It's wild.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Young Guns 2. Probably more than this one now. It was written by the same writer, but it has a new director, which I think it's
tonally quite different.
Yeah. I think the director is probably a lot of why this was so TV movie looking. Yeah, with that, we're going to thumb it, guys. Going around the table. Going to start with Josh. Josh, are you giving it up or down or
give it or side to side. Yeah. Or doggy style. Thumbs up. I like it.
Up from Josh. All right, Brian.
Down. Definitely down. That music, I can't remember any of it. I blocked it out of my mind. I hope the next one is vibes, at least.
Yeah.
Not negative vibes.
Al.
Thumbs up. If you haven't seen it, you should see it.
And I was really disappointed. It was not what I remembered it being. I thought it was going to be a really fun, like 80s music video Western romp, and it was so slow and so cheap looking. So I'm gonna go down, but it's mostly due to my disappointment and not living up to my memory, which means I should probably not revisit any film from my childhood ever again. But
I mean, early on, I thought I was really critiquing, but it's come down to would I watch it again, and I would watch it again. Yeah.
So, all right. That's where we're at with Young Guns. Another split decision. But that means we are done with it this week. Next week, as we said, Young Guns 2.
In a blaze of glory.
Oh, yeah. Enter John Bon Jovi. Stage left. Yeah. That is next week on Harmless Phosphorescence. Until then, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. This has been your host, Thoreau Smiley. I am a cowboy, and on a steel horse I ride. And I'm wanted, dead or alive.
I'm Josh Cece, and this movie was farging ridiculous. Muted.
I'm Brian Leshin. Did you guys see the size of that chicken?
Delicious.
I'm Alaric Weber. You can't see me because I'm in the spirit world. And it's a podcast.
You said it like Professor. You can't see me.
It's science, folks.
Podcasts are the spirit world, FYI, everybody.
Yeah, they are. Those were all gone.
I'm dead this whole time.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.